This is the Transportation TV News Update. I'm Tony Dorsey reporting. 12,000 transportation professionals from across the U.S. and 70 countries gathered in Washington the week of January 13th for the Transportation Research Board's 93rd annual meeting. What's the big attraction?
TRB links the innovation that comes from universities and research with the practical folks like consultants, myself, at DOTs.
Research and innovation are a big part of what TRB stands for. However, every few years, the agency spells out its national priorities in a critical issues in transportation statement. TRB Executive Director Bob Skinner says these are the issues the board hopes annual meeting participants and everyone else in transportation will be thinking about.
One has to do with system performance, which is neither reliable nor is it resilient. So it has both, kind of the day-to-day congestion concerns, but it also has the resiliency concerns that we have related to security and weather events and things of that nature. Safety, which is improved, but we still have opportunities to substantially reduce the fatalities and injuries that occur on our nation's transportation system.
Also on TRB's list of issues is addressing transportation's impact on energy, climate, and the environment, as well as finding the resources necessary to pay to maintain and improve the nation's surface transportation infrastructure. And not surprisingly, TRB also calls for greater investment in transportation research and development. TRB's 2014 board chair, Kirk Steudle, director of the Michigan Department of Transportation, a former AASHTO president, explains.
Research is the foundation for our future. And as we look at the next reauthorization, we have to have a solid component dedicated to research. Because if we think we know all the answers to all the problems today, we're absolutely wrong.
And I turn the chairmanship officially.
It was at the chairman's luncheon that Steudle received the gavel as 2014 board chair from his predecessor, Deborah Butler, an executive at Norfolk Southern. The keynote speaker at the event was U.S. DOT Secretary Anthony Foxx, who delivered a somber assessment of the nation's Highway Trust Fund.
As you all well know, on October 1st of this year, the two-year MAP 21 bill is set to expire. And the Highway Trust Fund will start bouncing checks. It's interesting, I've been reading some commentary that, folks are asking, what are we going to do about the Highway Trust Fund in FY15? We need to be asking, what are we going to do about it in FY14? Because in August, the Highway Trust Fund may start bouncing checks.
Foxx announced U.S. DOT was posting a Highway Trust Fund ticker on the agency's website to show the current status of the troubled account. The Highway Trust Fund supports both the nation's highway and transit programs. The solution will be for Congress to approve a new surface transportation bill by September 30th.
One of my priorities is to work on a bipartisan basis with Congress to show them that the most fiscally responsible path forward is to create sustainable investments in infrastructure now.
The fate of the nation's surface transportation programs will be decided by Congress over the next several months. And while the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials will be actively engaged in that effort, it will also be celebrating its centennial year. This session at TRB is just one of the many commemorative events scheduled throughout 2014.
It really is important, I think, for us to look back and celebrate the 100 years of success that AASHTO represents. But I think just as importantly, we at AASHTO now are hoping to use this celebration, this centennial recognition, as a way to look forward.
Find out more about AASHTO's centennial year at centennial.transportation.org. Meanwhile, the work is already beginning on TRB's 94th annual meeting, which will be held at the colossal 2.3 million square foot Walter E. Washington Convention Center. But while the venue will change, the reason that thousands will come here next year remains the same.
I think that it's just The technology that we're bringing into the field is so crazy. It's advancing every day. It's hard to keep up with all the new things that are coming out, but I think that it's very important that we take all of these things that are advancing and put it back into our infrastructure in the United States. I mean, we're not the top for transportation. I think that it's time that we really start focusing on that.
This has been a Transportation TV News special report, TRB's annual meeting 2014. I'm Tony Dorsey reporting.